Hey, YouTube folks, welcome to another video. And be careful, very careful, because what we're going to see here today completely defies logic. The game we're going to see today was played between Mikhail Tal and Alexander Koblents. For those who don't know Alexander Koblents, he was Tal's coach, a very strong player, and many times champion of Latvia. And this game we're going to see here today is definitely one of the most surprising games I've ever seen in chess. So get ready to enter a parallel universe where 2 plus 2 equals 5. With him, Mikhail Tal. So guys, here we are. And playing white was Mikhail Tal, better known as the Magician from Riga, against Alexander Koblents. Tal opens with e4 king's pawn, and black replies with c5, opting for the Sicilian defense. Mikhail Tal plays here with knight to f3, and after d6 comes the breakthrough in the center with d4 pawn takes, knight to f6, knight to c3, and a 6. Played here by Alexander Koblents using the Najdorf variation of the Sicilian defense. Mikhail Tal chooses a sharp line playing bishop to g5. This variation is very interesting for white. Black plays e6. After f4 and bishop e7, queen moves to f3. This move makes sense in this position. It has several ideas, including preparing to castle queenside, and also to defend against expansions like b5, here from black, which are natural moves that black would like to make. Because if black plays b5 now, then white could respond with e5. This attacks the knight and reveals a discovered attack on the rook. So these ideas are very interesting for white to defend against possible black expansions on the queenside. The game continued. Queen to c7. Tal long castled, knight b to d7, then bishop to e2. This is the first move where Mikhail Tal deviates from the main theories of this position. The most theoretical moves here are to play g4, where white creates future attacks by capturing on f6 and playing g5, gaining space on the king side. Another option is to play bishop to d3, putting it on this diagonal for future plans. Black castles. Tal avoids all theoretical lines and plays bishop to e2. The game continues. h6, bishop to h4, b5. A logical move for black here, already starting to gain space on the queen's side and Tal. At this moment, he starts a magical line, a very surprising line. Playing here with e5, which is a move that apparently makes perfect sense. It attacks the knight on f6 and creates a discovered attack on the rook on a8, similar to our previous analysis. In this position, black's queen is already on c7, and Alexander Koblents plays bishop to b7. So, opening a counterattack here on the white queen. And this is already quite a surprising move, because white already has some problems to solve here, because if white, for example, simply moves the queen, then the pawn on e5 is hanging, which would already be quite serious. For white's position, white is already starting to fall behind here. But that wasn't Tal's idea. He had a surprising plan up his sleeve. And here, at this moment, the challenge to logic really begins. Why didn't Tal move the queen? He played in this position, capturing on f6 and simply sacrificing the queen at the beginning of the game. It's not clear what the idea behind this sacrifice is, okay? But Alexander Koblents, he didn't hesitate to capture the queen on f3. The capture happened. After bishop took on f3, black played d5. And another very interesting thing here in this position is the sacrifice that Tal made with the queen. It really is the best continuation, the strongest move in this position, and this is really surprising. And here comes the whole challenge of logic. After d5, black aims to disrupt the bishop-rook connection on a8. The bishop on e7 is attacked, making the position much more complex. A natural move, for example, like capturing the bishop on e7 is no longer a good move here, because black would have queen takes f4 check here, and after king to b1, the bishop on h4 is falling. So here black is already starting to get absolutely winning, right? But wasn't that Tal's idea? Tal's idea isn't to capture this bishop either. Whoa, what do you mean, Raphael chess? He gave up the queen for a knight and refuses to take the bishop. Yes, Tal doesn't want the bishop. Tal, here he plays another brilliant move. A complex move, very hard to see. It was knight. Knight takes e6 extra. Extra, Mikhail Tal sacrifices everything. At this moment, Tal has sacrificed the queen and is sacrificing another knight. So here, black took this knight. Tal plays bishop h5 check. Black responds g6, bishop captures g6. And after king f8, Tal now has the possibility to capture the bishop on g7 with check. That's exactly what he did. He recovered some material. The black king now comes to g7, attacking the bishop on g6. And at this moment, Tal again, he doesn't defend that piece. How come Raphael Chess sacrifices everything? Well, here he goes. He's not going to defend the piece, but he's going to prepare a blow, right? He plays here with bishop g3. So whenever a very strong player gives us a piece, be careful. Think twice before taking it because there might be a trick there. Of course, Alexander Koblents didn't capture that bishop, okay? That would be a serious mistake since Tal's idea is to play f5 check, creating a discovered attack to win the black queen. So be careful, nothing is that easy in life, right? So, of course, black saw this and played knight to f6. The game continues then with the move rook from h to e1, and now b4 played here by black, attacking the knight on c3. Now what? You must think, okay, Raphael, but you'll say Tal didn't move that knight from c3 either, right? Exactly. Mikhail Tal didn't move that knight from there, so he's going to sacrifice another piece. Yes, Tal, in this position, played rook takes e6 extra. The game continues here with the capture of the knight on c3, since Tal is giving up everything, right? Here comes the capture of the knight on c3. The game then continues with f5, opening a discovered attack on the queen on c7. The queen moves to the b7 square. The first checkmate threats are starting to appear here, right? Against Mikhail Tal's position because he's down a lot of material. And in this position, Tal plays calmly as if nothing is happening. He plays b3 here, defending against the checkmate threat. Black, in this position, plays queen to d7 and then bishop to e5, a bomb on the board. This is where things start to make sense and work out for Mikhail Tal. Why? Tal's threat is clear, capturing the knight on f6. And notice that a passive move here by black, for example, playing rook to c8. The idea is that Tal here is taking on f6. And after king to g8, several promotion themes start to appear here and here. Black already starts to get very lost. So yes, there is a complex idea behind all these sacrifices. And after bishop to e5, what did black have to do here? Alexander Koblents, he saw these very dangerous continuations, and so he decides to give back some material. It's an idea that makes a lot of sense in chess. He plays queen takes e6, Tal, of course, captures the queen. The game continues with king takes g6, capturing the bishop. Tal is again down significant material. Another bomb appears on the board. Rook to f1 played. Now Tal is looking to capture the knight on f6, and again, it's not so simple to play this position. So what did black do? They gave back some material here, played knight to h7, Tal captured on h8, rook takes on h8, and at this moment, Tal fell here. He's down a piece, but he also has some pawns on the 7th and also on the 6th. Life isn't that simple. What happened here? Tal in this position plays an incredible move, the only move that gives white an advantage here. If you want to pause the video, try to figure out what move it was that Tal played here. I hope you got this right. It was a brilliant move played by Tal here. Rook to f8, what a move. The idea behind this move is that if black, of course, captures with the knight here, right? Which is not what happened in the game. Tal can promote quickly. Here, white is already winning, right? However, what black did here was capture with the rook. After pawn takes and promotes to a queen, knight takes on f8, then comes the only strong move that makes it possible, right? White keeps the advantage here. It's e7, which is threatening to capture the knight and at the same time promote the pawn. So the only move black can make here is to play king to f7. Tal captured the knight on f8, king took on f8, and after king moved to d1, look what happened. After all these sacrifices, white is absolutely winning here. How come? This is absurd, a challenge to logic, yes. Alexander Koblents resigned the game in this position because there's no way to defend against white's idea of capturing these pawns here. So white will end up with a lot of extra pawns here. For example, if you bring the king, the white king will follow. There's no way to defend this pawn, it will be captured. And at this moment, notice that black has 2 pawns less. In other words, it's more than enough for white to win the game. So you can simply, advance here and make a simple pawn exchange, and quickly passed pawns will appear here, passed pawns there. There's nothing to be done. This game here is absolutely the true challenge of logic. Mikhail Tal gave up everything, yet still achieved a winning position. It's sensational and proven. 2 plus 2 equals 5. So guys, as you saw, the Mage of Riga is really amazing. I hope you enjoyed this match. See you in the next videos, guys. Thanks.